Okay, welcome to Becoming the Vulnerability Queen. So this is not really a masterclass, it's not a training, it's a story of becoming. And I wanted to create this because a lot of new people come into my world and they see the Dead Share Challenge and they see the Real and the Raw Leaders movement, and they haven't necessarily been with me for the whole journey. So I thought, instead of telling people to scroll back my Instagram and see it in real time, I would create a space somewhere that people can come and understand how this all came to be, because the true power of the Real and the Raw Leaders movement and the Dare to Share Challenge comes from the fact that I lived the experience myself, and that's how it came to be in the first place. So I don't know how long I'm going to talk for. You will know, because when it's recorded, I will tell you how long this will be. But I'm just going to let it flow. And I want you just to really understand that this is a journey of becoming. And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to realize that anything and everything is possible for you too. That your past does not dictate your future. That it doesn't matter how many times you've failed, how many times you've fucked up, how many times you've tried and tried and tried again, and you still feel like it's not clicking into place. This is a testimony of it can still all happen. There is so much time. Time is limitless in a way. It just depends how you perceive it. So let me take you back to early 2024. I started a new Instagram account, Claire Garner Official, and I really came into that space with a fire under my ass, right? I was like, I am gonna be me. I'm gonna be this powerful, badass woman that I know I am. And to give context, I had chosen at that point to leave behind my old Instagram account, which had initially over 10,000 followers, but it was built from my crystal business. So as I moved into mentorship and speaking, I lost a lot of those followers because they weren't aligned. That had a massive effect on my mental health and ultimately led me to finally making the decision to have a clean slate and start again. That account still exists, so you can go check it out. It's at Empowered Phoenix Rise, but I don't go on it anymore. So I came to the new Claire Garner Official, really telling myself that I was going to bring it, right? That I wasn't going to water myself down anymore. I wasn't going to be boxed in anymore. I was going to say what I wanted to say, and I was going to do it without apology. And I was going to be the biggest version of me possible. And that I did. I brought fire. I brought this energy that was infectious. And very, very quickly, I had 7 and 8 figure industry leaders coming into my space, wanting to collab with me, wanting to co-create with me. One thing led to another, and I still don't really know how this happened, but I ended up kind of putting myself in this box of personal branding and content, because I think because I'm a very creative person, the content that I was creating was just so hot, because the energy behind it was so powerful and so strong and so no fucks given, that people wanted to know how to do that. And so I started calling myself personal branding and content, right? That's what I thought I was good at. And I was good at it. It was a zone of genius. That really quickly took off. My personal brand alone was so well recognized within about 8 weeks of starting this new account. People knew me. They knew who I was, they knew what I did, and my name was talked about. I started to make money. I started to have clients. I just started selling my very first mini mind, the Metamorphosis, if any of you were part of that. And then everything fell to shit. It didn't quite fall to shit, but that's how it felt inside. Because what people didn't see on the surface was that behind the scenes, I was full of imposter syndrome. I was full of self-doubt. I was full of comparison, comparing myself to everyone else. And I was really still unfulfilled. I still felt like this wasn't the thing. There was something I was missing. There was something bigger that I was here to do. I've always known that I was here to create a change in the world. And that wasn't by helping someone with their personal branding or content. It just wasn't it. I was thinking much bigger scale. So I obviously didn't talk about that on my Instagram or on my socials or anywhere other than with my mentor, because I felt like if I did, people would think I was a fraud. People would not want to work with me, because why would you want to work with someone who isn't really lit up by what they're doing? I thought that if I started sharing this, I would just get cancelled, right? Like everything that I had just spent those months building would just be gone, wasted, and I would be back to square one. So day after day, it started to take its impact. It started to take its toll. And I was showing up and I was doing all the things, and the money was coming in and the clients were coming in and the opportunities were coming in and the awareness was there, but something was missing and I couldn't put my finger on it. And it felt like everyone else was exploding and I wasn't, even though a lot of people would say that I was. And this is where we have discrepancy, right? It's like the outside perception. Someone can think, well, you're making money, you're getting clients, you're talking on stages, what more do you want? And it's like, well, I don't know what more I want, but I know this isn't it. And we feel bad for admitting that, and we feel shame around not being content with what we've got. And so I was stuck in this comparison of looking at everyone else who I looked up to and thinking, what am I missing? Why aren't I living that kind of life? Why aren't I feeling that fulfilled? Why don't I have that kind of impact when I'm doing all the things? And so it got to April, yeah, because I was doing the metamorphosis. So I just built the metamorphosis mini mind, 4-week mini mind, ironically called metamorphosis, which was all about content creation and taking your personal brand from, I think I said from unknown to what was it? From who to who the fuck is that? Something like that. And it was all about personal branding, right? Which is what I was good at. And I had built a very, very well-known personal brand within 4 short months. So I was like, okay, this mini mind feels good. Started it. And within about the first week, I really knew some things had to shift. I went on holiday to Turkey during the metamorphosis mini mind, so I can still work from anywhere, right? That was the theory. Got out there and I swear to God, there was no internet. There was just like the most minimal of Wi-Fi reception you can imagine. And even the paid for Wi-Fi in the hotel was just like awful. You just couldn't do anything. Like video calls were not going to happen. Zoom was not going to happen. Lives were not going to happen. So everything that I had in my diary for that week, because I was also a workaholic, let's not forget, and I wanted to work, I couldn't do. And so this week was really pivotal for me, because it was like the universe was saying, look, if you're not going to do something about this, I'm going to intervene. And at that time, I was glued to Instagram. I was on it nonstop because I felt like I always had to be there. I always had to be showing up. I always had to just be there. And also I was comparing myself a lot. So I was scrolling and comparing. No other way around it. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that in Turkey. No internet. What are you going to do? Tried to pay for it. Didn't work. So I had no choice but to surrender and to quote unquote enjoy my holiday. But I couldn't enjoy my holiday because I was crumbling. I was crumbling inside, and I was just full of this feeling of nothing is working. Even the clients and the money and the success that I was building, it wasn't enough. It was like, this is nowhere near feeding my soul. I'm not talking about how much money, I'm just talking about the feeling. The feeling was not there. And so I managed to get on a call with my mentor on the Thursday, the day before we came back. And I remember being on the balcony, leaning over, right, to try and get some signal. I think we were on Zoom, but we couldn't do video because it wouldn't work. So it was like audio. And I'm like breaking down crying. It's like the reception is terrible. So it's like really bitty. And, you know, she can just about hear me. I can just about hear her. I'm in tears. And I'm saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know why it's not working. Why is everyone else seeing all this success and I'm not? And she said a few things to me which really changed the trajectory of where I was going. So the first thing she said was, Claire, I can tell you exactly why, but I need to know that you're ready to hear it. And I was like, shit. This isn't going to be something I want to hear, right? This is going to be hard to hear. This is going to be triggering. This is going to be all the things. And I said to her, you know, I know that obviously it's going to be not nice, but nothing can be worse than this feeling. Nothing can be worse than feeling like this every single day, because I am sick of my own shit. I'm sick of getting in my own way and I just can't do it anymore. And so she said to me, okay, are you happy? And the silence was deafening. Right, it was like, well, of course I'm not fucking happy, like I'm here crying, like, you know, but it was the obvious answer that I hadn't admitted to myself. And it was like, no, obviously I'm not happy, like I'm constantly coming to you. Like this had been about 3 weeks now. I'd gone to her on our one-to-one days and broken down and be like, I don't know what's going on, I don't know why it's not working, I don't know why I feel like this, but I wasn't willing to hear the truth. I wasn't willing to lead myself through what needed to be led through. And so she said to me, Claire, look, you have two choices. You can continue doing what you're doing and you're probably going to make some more money and, you know, it's going really well. It's going to be great, right? But you're still going to feel like this. Or you stop everything. And you say, fuck the money. You say, fuck everything that I think I know. And you do some deep self-exploration work for an unknown amount of time to find yourself again and to find who you are and to find what you really want to do. Because that unknown period of time, whether it's a week, a month, a year, 10 years, in the grand scheme of things for your life's work, is a drop in the ocean. And when she put it like that, it really hit home because I was like, okay, that makes sense, right? Can I stop everything, even if it was for a year or longer, to know that the rest of my life would be in purpose and would be in fulfillment and would give me these feelings that I desired? And that was a hell body yes. As much as I didn't want to do what needed to be done, that right there was I know that I have to do this because I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done with this way of living. I need change. I don't want to get onto my deathbed and look back in regret because I was trying to fit into a box. I was trying to follow all the rules. I was trying to be something that I'm not. I was being untrue to myself. And so when I got back from Turkey, I told Instagram, I told the world that some things had changed whilst I'd been away and that I was going into what I called the void. I was going into the darkness. I was going into the unknown. I was not launching anything. I was not working with anyone anymore. I was finishing my metamorphosis, but that was already, everything was done for that, right? So it was just showing up and delivering. I was not doing anything new. And I said to everyone, you know, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't even know who I'm going to be on the other side. I don't even know if I'm going to be a mentor anymore. I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen on the other side of this. But you're welcome to follow me along the journey. And about a week later, I started sharing that journey. So I started sharing what I was feeling, what I was navigating, how I was navigating it. For those of you who followed me, you know, this was the whole writing on my body with red lipstick. It was the the naked, vulnerable photos, because that's how I felt. Like I felt so vulnerable and so bare and so seen. Not necessarily in a good way, but that was the reality that I was experiencing. And through that journey, it was about 4 weeks, I gave myself permission to share it in real time because I wanted to, right? Because I wanted to. I felt like I couldn't. I felt like I shouldn't, because as leaders, we're told that if you show too much vulnerability, if you show weakness, if people see the mess behind the scenes, they're not going to want to work with you. You're going to get cancelled. No one's ever going to pay you money again. And I felt trapped in that. And so I said to myself, look, Claire, you don't even know what's going to happen on the other side of this. So what have you got to lose? You've got nothing to lose. You've spent 4 months building up this Instagram. 4 months in the grand scheme of things is a drop in the ocean. It doesn't mean anything. If everyone leaves, so be it. They're not here for the next part of your journey. It doesn't matter. And so I started sharing. I started sharing the breakdown. I started sharing the mess. I started sharing things about my past, about my childhood, about my abusive relationship, things that I hadn't shared before, more depth than I had shared before, things that felt heavy on my heart that I just wanted to express and I wanted to talk about. And I never had, because I didn't know why. I didn't know why people would care. They had nothing to do with my business. So why would I talk about that? It will confuse people. All of these scenarios and situations that we convince ourselves are real, and so we stop ourselves. And through expressing and sharing, the most beautiful sense of liberation was born through me. I felt freer than I had ever felt before. I felt just so open to possibilities, so open to what was meant for me. And I had completely surrendered to this process. I had completely let go of control, which was one of my hardest things to ever do, because when you come from abuse and you come from money trauma and you come from scarcity, control is what you have as a default mechanism. So releasing that was really, really freaking hard. But I did it. And I surrendered. And I allowed myself to just, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, because how do you enjoy a breakdown, but to feel what needed to be felt, because some days were better than others, right? Some days I was up, some days I was deeply, in the tears and in the depth of it. It was the ebbs and the flows, but I shared all of it. I started a free Telegram community called Finding You, which was based on Finding Claire, which is what I'd called the journey. And I shared in real time what I was experiencing on any given day or in any given moment. I wrote my first book, which I'm still finishing editing now, but the book is written. I started writing poetry, and that just flowed out of me. And as I was stepping into this new life, really, this new way of living that I had never had before, I'd always been a very, controlled person. I knew what I was doing on any day, how I was doing it, all of the things. And this was like waking up and being, okay, what do I do with myself? And I remember my mentor saying to me, Claire, just live your life. And I was like, but how? How do I live my life? I don't even know who I am. Who am I without my work? Because I'd been so attached to the identity of being an entrepreneur for a decade, I didn't know who I was behind that. And so that was an experience in itself, right? How do I live? I mean, what a ridiculous question, but I had to ask it. And so through living and through sharing and expressing and liberating, and just being real and raw and vulnerable with my audience on Instagram, in the free Telegram space, in any communities that I had, I started having the epiphany. Dry mouth. And the epiphany was, wow, this was the thing that I had been missing. I didn't want to go back to how it used to be. I wanted to keep living like this. I wanted to keep feeling this sense of liberation. I wanted to keep feeling this sense of freedom and fulfillment now. But how? How is this normal life? And I realized that this was the thing missing in the world, in the industry. I felt like I couldn't share it because of the way that we perceive leaders, because of the way that we pedestal leaders, because of the way that we're told that being vulnerable is weakness. And through me being real and raw, I had more impact during that 4 weeks than I had ever had in my prior 10 years of being an entrepreneur. The messages that I got daily from people saying, you are so inspirational, you are so empowering, you have, just so many. You've empowered me to change my entire business because actually I really wanted to be doing boudoir and BDSM stuff, but I haven't because I've been worried about my family. You've inspired me to share that right now I'm not making any money, but I've not wanted to talk about it because I feel like people aren't going to work with me. You've empowered me to speak my truth and to start speaking on stages about my story. Just so much I can't even tell you. And I knew that I wanted to continue making that impact because it felt different. It felt on a soul level, a far deeper connection than I'd ever had through anything that I'd ever done before. Even though I had a lot of DMs from when I was doing personal branding, it didn't have the feels. I don't even know how else to describe that. It was more like, okay, cool. But because I wasn't showing all of me, I wasn't being fake, but I wasn't showing all of me. I wasn't sharing what I was really feeling behind the scenes. So it kind of felt almost superficial. It was like, okay, that's nice, but it didn't really hit me in the soul. This did. This was like, wow. I am being a permission slip for so many other leaders to know that this is human, that this is part of reality. This is part of real life. And the whole fact of some of the messages that I had from people being like, are you okay? Are you sure you should be sharing that? That in itself told me that this is the thing that needed to be changed. Because if we have to ask someone if they should be sharing that or if they're okay, just because they're sharing a human experience of how they feel or what they're navigating right now, that in itself is a problem in the industry. And it was how I led myself through it that people were being empowered and inspired by. I wasn't trying to rush the process. I wasn't trying to make out that it was something that it wasn't. I was just being. And so as I started to have this epiphany and started to slowly come out the other side, it just dropped in. I was just being real and raw. And that was the thing that needed to be birthed through me. That was the movement that I had been searching for all along, but I had been searching with my head and not my heart. I hadn't allowed myself to experience what I needed to experience in order for that movement to be birthed. I could have never thought of that with my head. I had to experience it and feel it with my body and with my heart and with my soul. That's the only way it could have come to fruition. And so I don't even know how this happened, but I had this epiphany of, okay, real and raw leadership. This is it. This is the movement. This is the thing that I stand for, because what I have just been through, this is how I want to lead myself. This is how I want to continue leading myself. This is how I want to help others lead themselves without having to hide, by being vulnerable, by sharing their truth and their reality, and knowing that that actually makes them more powerful than anything, because people look at them and they think, wow, she's experiencing that, but look at her continue to show up. Look at how she leads herself. Look at what she's doing in the world. That right there is it. That right there is the whole point. The whole point of the movement, the empowerment of generations to come, of women across the world even men, right? I say women because generally it's women who I draw, but anyone and everyone. And so it gets near the end of April and I'm wanting to start to move things, right? I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like I'm ready to move now. Like I've been through this exploration process. I have gone to the depths of my soul. And some people tried to call me out. Some people said, it's only been 4 weeks. Don't rush yourself. You know, stay there as long as you need. And it's that whole projection because they're not ready to move. And the reality is that time is, it's a perception, right? What could feel like I've been talking for 25 minutes feels like about 5 minutes. You could be doing something for an hour and it feel like a day. It's all relative to the person living it and experiencing it and what you're doing in that time. So we get to the end of April and I'm wanting to move. Something is being called. And I just had this idea. The first idea that I had was, I want to create a membership. I want a space where leaders can feel safe to flex this muscle of vulnerability, to start sharing their story, to start playing with how they can be more vulnerable, how they can tap into this next level of real and raw leadership. So that was my first download, if you like, my first idea. Launched that. With like about an hour after I had the idea, because I was like, fuck it, whatever. I'm just going to put this out there. If anyone wants to come and be with me and feel empowered and know that they have this safe space, then it's here, right? It's here. And at the moment, I think we have about 12 women in there. So that was the first idea. And then I think a day later or a couple of days later, I had the idea of a Dare to Share challenge. It was, you know, June, the 1st of June, was less than a week away. I know this because I remember feeling like I got it together so quickly. Everything just fell into place. And this is what happens when you get out of your own way. The universe co-conspires with you. And I was sat in my hot tub and I said to my mentor, we were on the phone, on Telegram, and I said, I've had this idea of this challenge, Dare to Share. Because I've literally dared to share my truth, my story, my vulnerability in real time through this experience. And imagine if I could get 30 women through June, 30 other leaders to dare to share as well. Like, what an amazing ripple effect that would have in the world. And she was like, yeah, like go for it. This sounds so embodied, like so perfect for everything that you've just been through. And there must have been maybe 3, 4, 5 days until the 1st of June. And I wanted it to start on the 1st of June. I was like, okay, 30 leaders, 30 days through June. Let's go. I got the branding made. I put about 2 posts out in 2 membership spaces that I'm in. And I said, this is what I'm doing, guys. Who wants to come and get behind this movement? Who wants to come and speak on my virtual stage on Instagram through June and dare to share? Dare to share something stretchy, something vulnerable, something that showcases the human behind the perception. And within 2 days, all 30 slots were filled, plus a wait list. And in that moment, I just knew that this was the movement. This was the thing. And since then, it's now the 25th of June as I'm recording this. We have 5 days left of the Instagram Dare to Share. I still have people on the wait list that haven't been able to get in, but it has gone so viral and so big, and it's having such a profound impact. And I know this because my DMs are like exploding every day with people just saying like, this is so inspiring. This is so empowering. What you are doing needs to be done. The world is crying out for this. And so I decided, I was like, I want to keep doing this. June is nearly over, but this Dare to Share, this is going global. This is, I mean, it is global already, but this needs to continue. This is something that is so much bigger than anything I could have ever imagined before. And so I decided to bring it into its own show and turn it into a YouTube channel and start having speaker fees and build it into the next level of impact. And that is where we are now. And I announced that, I think maybe 2 days ago. And July is nearly already filled up. The speaker slots are nearly already filled up. And I was walking along the Thames earlier for a morning walk, replying to inquiries for amazing leaders wanting to speak, TEDx speakers, 7-figure entrepreneurs, amazing leaders with hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram, all the things. And they're wanting to pay little old me to come and speak on my stage, on my new YouTube channel, on my new show, because they've seen me walk through it. They've seen me live through it. They've seen me experience and embody it and lead myself first. And they've seen the passion and the power and the pureness that comes from my heart when I speak about it. And that can only come from a place of living it. And I'm so convicted in that, because I have done many things in my life. I've started many businesses. I've had many ideas. I'm a line 3-6 in human design. So I'm always trialing and erroring and leading. And the feeling that comes from when you live through something and you share that in real time and you surrender to what it needs to be and you let go of all of these perceptions that you worry that other people are going to have about you as a leader and what they're going to think about you and how they're going to judge you and whether that pedestal is going to be put up or shattered, and you release all of that and you just allow yourself to show up vulnerably and speak the truth. And don't wait to come out the other side, but you share it in real time. The sense of 1, fulfillment, 2, liberation, but 3, the empowerment that you give to other people. When you do that, when you showcase that level of real and raw leadership yourself, I swear to God, this is when they look at you and they just can't not be inspired. They're like, wow, how are you experiencing this? Yet you're here showing up and you're doing all the things and you're making a huge impact in the world. And yet you're telling me that you're not even making money yet. You're struggling with imposter syndrome. You've just broken up with your partner. You're having a breakdown, but you know how to lead yourself through it and how to give yourself grace and how to continue to show up for what you believe in. Wow. Wow. You have just inspired me. You have just empowered me. You have just motivated me to move, to follow my dreams, to know that actually I can do it. Just because I'm experiencing doubt and I'm experiencing wavering and I'm experiencing uncertainty. You just told me you experience all of that as well, and you're still experiencing it, and yet here you are. This right here is what it's all about. And this was the birth of becoming the Vulnerability Queen, because back when I was doing personal branding, people started calling me the Fire Queen because I bought the fire. I bought the heat. I had that no fucks given energy. And I still have that, but now it's from a different place. It's not from ego and bravado and needing people to know that I don't give a fuck, right? It's like, I don't give a fuck and I need you to know that I don't give a fuck. That was the energy I was in. Now, it's just a place of pureness. And it's just a place of, no, you know what? I'm a human and I am going to continue being a human, whatever that looks like to me. Yesterday, I shared that a 7-figure entrepreneur with over 70,000 followers just paid me to come and speak on the new Dare to Share show. And yet I nearly didn't post it. I nearly deleted the post. And this is what I shared because I had that momentary feeling of fear of being cancelled, fear of other people judging me for that. So I posted it and I shared that that's what I felt about it. Last week, I shared that at the moment, or in that moment, I should say now, I wasn't making any money in this business. Yes, I have another business, but in this business, I wasn't making any money. And I shared that because I wanted to show, look how I'm leading myself, look how I'm showing up every day, and also watch me hit 6 figures this year, minimum. Because I know what I'm doing. I'm so convicted in this movement and in what I'm bringing to the world now and how I help people. And I always knew deep in my heart that I wasn't here to just be a coach, right? To just create courses or masterclasses. That wasn't what I was about. I knew that I was here to create a movement, to be the force behind the movement, and to really showcase other people, to really showcase and empower other leaders to step up as well, so that you create your ripple effect. And then the people below you and the people below you and the people below you, I don't mean below, but like the people who are watching, right? The people who are working with you and following you. This is what it's all about. And so the Vulnerability Queen was born, and that is my new title, I guess. That is who I am now. And as I record this, my heart is just like boom, 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 because this feels so nostalgic in a way, because it feels like a long time ago that this all happened, but it really wasn't. It was a month ago that I came out of the void, less than 25 days ago, really, maybe a month, because there was like 5 days where I was planning the Dead Share Challenge. So 1 month ago, I came out of the void. 2 months ago, I was ugly crying, drawing all over my body in red lipstick on the internet for the whole world to see. Because I allowed myself to be real and raw and truly vulnerable. Not fake vulnerable, as in sharing stuff that I've already healed from, sharing things that were still raw to me. Whether that was in the present moment or past, it was things that I was still working through, right? And this is the true vulnerability piece. Things that are still raw for you. Because when you share that level of vulnerability, that is the true empowerment, because it's your people watching how you lead yourself through that. So this was beautiful, and I hope it gives you understanding of how this all came to be and why I am so passionate about this project, this powerful movement, this force, this change in the world of how leaders see themselves, but also how others see us. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I allowed myself to surrender to the process and let it be birthed. Let me become the person I needed to become in order to birth this movement that I'd been searching for all along. So that is everything from me. There are 2 ways that you can get in my world right now. So you can come into the Real and the Raw Leaders membership, which is close proximity to me. I'm in there daily activating rifts, challenges, community, collaboration, all of the things to help you take your movement from an idea into a revolution, just like I have. Or if you are brave enough, if you are courageous enough, then you can come on the Dare to Share show yourself and show everyone else how you go first, how you lead yourself, and how you really are a real and a raw leader. So I would love to hear from you. You can hit me up in the DMs on Instagram at Claire Garnett Official, and I can't wait to see you in my world. And until whenever our paths meet next, remember to be real and to be raw.